Okay, so let's deal with the last two rules that we have for inequalities. Rule number 6, A and B. Rule number 6A states that if A is greater than B and N is greater than 0, where N is any integer, then A raised to power N is greater than B raised to power N. The B states that if A is greater than B and N is less than 0, where N is also any integer, then A raised to power N is also less than B raised to power N. So let's try to work out some examples for the first rule, sixth rule, A and B. So if A is greater than B, let's say 6 is greater than 4 and 3, or let me use the word 2 is greater than 0, then we have 6 raised to power 2 will also be greater than 4 raised to power 2, and that will give us 6 to power 2 is 6 times 6, which is 36, greater than 4 to power 2 is 16. You can see that 36 is greater than 16. The B part says that if A is greater than B and N is less than 0, let me still use the 6 greater than 4 and N less than 0. Let's use minus 2, less than 0. Then 6 raised to power minus 2 will be less than 4 raised to power minus 2, which is 1, according to the rule of indices that states that A raised to power minus N is equal to 1 all over A to power N. This rule of indices, what I'm applying here, that will be 1 over 6 to power 2 less than 1 over 4 to power 2. That will give us 1 over 36 less than 1 over 16 by fractional standard. So 1 over 36 is less than 1 over 16. Now that is for rule 6A and B, that states if A is greater than B and N is greater than 0, then A raised to power N will be greater than B to power N. If A is greater than B and N is less than 0, then A raised to power N will be less than B to power N. Let's go to the seventh rule that states that if A is less than B and N is greater than 0, then A raised to power N will be less than B to power N. If A is less than B, let's use 4 less than 6 and 2 is greater than 0. If that is true, then we have 4 to power 2 will also be less than 6 to power 2. This will give us 16 less than 36. So that rule is correct. The B part of it says if A is less than B, if A is less than B and N is less than 0. If A is less than B and N is less than 0, then A raised to power N will be greater than B raised to power N. If A is less than B, if A, let's say use the same number 4 less than 6 and N is less than 0, let's use minus 2 less than 0, then 4 raised to power minus 2 will be less than 6 raised to power minus 2. That will give us 1 over 4 to power 2 by indices standard. 1 over 6 to power 2, this will be 1 over 16 less than 1 over 36. If A is less than that and N is less than 0, then it will be greater than, the sign will change, greater than. The sign will change, which is 1 over 16 is greater than 1 over 36. If A is less than 0 and N is less than 0, then A raised to power N is greater than B raised to power N. That's what the rule states. So 4 less than 6 and minus 2 less than 0. If you put that, 4 raised to power minus 2 will be greater than 6 raised to power minus 2. And 4 to the power minus 2 is 1 over 4 to the power 2, less than 1 over 6 to the power 2, and that will give us 1 over 16, greater than 1 over 36. So the rule is true. The 6th rule and the 7th rule are true. So you need to go through these standards of these rules, ensure you have them in you, because in our next other class we'll be solving inequality problems. We'll be calculating problems that have to do with inequalities. So see you in our next other class.